Well, thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. And Asar has been such an amazing journey with your leadership. This has been one of the ways in which education has been highlighted in Pakistan. And I think a lot of the dialogue has changed over the years and gotten deeper. And part of the reason has been Asar and the work that has been done by ITA with Asar reports and the baseline data that it provides. I, like others, very aware of time. I won't repeat the things. I only want to raise 4 or 5 issues, and Veda, thank you, starting with 25A. I think that's the point to start with, that education was not looking good even before COVID, with 20 odd million out of school, with our education quality, the way World Bank has also measured it in terms of quality index, showing almost a reduction of half the years when given what children are in schools for. So we had very, very big issues already there in education, and COVID has made life a lot more difficult for us. And this is, I hope that the only silver lining I can think of here is that will this bring much more attention to the issue of education as a whole, to the issues that are raised by 25A, our commitments to our children, and also as well as the entire dialogue that stems from this idea of demographic dividend and so on, that unless we get our youth educated and trained and made much more skilled, how are they going to lead us into the rest of this century and the next century and beyond? And so those questions should be given the importance that they deserve. And so I hope that the COVID results, etc., bring about some of that attention that is needed. I want to also highlight just 3-4 points. One, clearly the loss is significant and large, but also that the effects of the loss get embedded. So there are strong hysteresis effects to losses in learning, whatever stage they happen, but especially at early stages of schooling. So it is not just today's dropout that we need to worry about. It is also that children who don't understand the basics today, when they move to the next grade or the grade after that, if they go on with those losses, then they are going to be prime candidates for dropout as they move forward in grades, and their distance from those who are learning well or who don't have losses will increase. That's hysteresis effect, and it's going to be substantial. So what we are saying is that this generation, not just the impact right now of dropout, but this generation or this particular cohort in the schools might have an impact on dropout even as they move forward in education. And we might have even higher dropout rate for this cohort than what we have for pre-COVID cohorts, and hopefully what we'll have for after COVID. So we need to very carefully think through what we want to do with this cohort that has suffered this loss. I've talked about this in other places as well. Why don't government and private sector take on the next, when schools are opening and now there's a window, why don't we spend 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever months it takes to actually go back and go to the foundations and do remedial work much more than moving forward. I think the gains from remedial work might be much larger than just moving forward and not taking care of the losses. Whether that happens in regular schooling time or whether we come up with various remedial programs, whether it gets done by stopping going forward for some time and cementing the learning from before. Either way, I don't think that the loss will be as large as compared to if we don't take care of this problem in the next 3-4 months of schooling, when children are, hopefully they can stay in schools and start learning again. The report very, very clearly points out the groups that are more vulnerable, the poor, the people with intergenerational educational issues, as in little or no education of especially mothers, but both parents, and rural areas. This one is focused on rural areas anyway, and people who do not have access to technology or to support from within the household. So our programming should take care of this differential impact and try to compensate according to that as well. I know that means a lot of hard work in terms of designing these interventions, but I don't think there's an easy way out of something like this. I mean, this is world over, but I don't think that we should look for easy solutions. We should look for the right solutions and try to get them done. And finally, just made up this issue of family support. There was a report we did some time back on looking at returns to education, and there also we found a very large impact of the support from home. But the variation in that support is also very large, for the fact that parents can be either educated, not educated, or very well educated. The kind of household that there is, the kind of appliances available, the kind of support from siblings, that it varies a lot. Angrezi, Urdu, language, a lot of culture where you are located in terms of rural Balochistan versus urban Punjab or urban Sindh and KP. So though all of those differences are very large, and so the question really then becomes, yes, the family have been able to provide support, but how much should we depend on that, and whether that will exacerbate some of the inequalities or bring them, narrow them down. We have to carefully, I think, do a bit more research on that, and also think about providing support, especially in families where that support is not available from within the family. And finally, just COVID period was also when a lot of parents were working from home or were part of the shutdown, so were not able to go out. Now I find that a lot of parents are going back to work, and so their ability to provide that support which was available when they were working from home, or when the siblings were also home because schools were shut, that will not be available as much, or will put tremendous pressure. Already some of my colleagues and parents who I talk to are talking about the fact that they're not able to give that much support to their children anymore. And this issue of sharing devices also becomes harder if the parent has to leave for a 9 to 5 or longer job, etc. So support from family, yes, but I think we need to work a bit more to figure out how to harness that support, and especially without putting too much pressure on the household, and especially how to create that support in families where that support is not available from within the sibling and family network. Let me stop here, because I think a lot of important points have been made already. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Bill.